Do you not yet have faith? This was the question Jesus asked his disciples in the gospel last week. This week we see the rewards of faith when it encounters the healing touch of Jesus. Mark intertwines two stories, one of the Imogen woman and the other of the 12-year-old girl. And faith is absolutely necessary for the healing power of Christ to work in both of their lives. If we look ahead in Mark's Gospel to the story directly following this one, we find Jesus rejected at Nazareth, and he could do no mighty work there because of their unbelief. Jesus, when speaking to St Faustina about faith, said, "What you see in reality, these souls see through faith. Oh, how pleasing to me is their great faith. You see, although there appears to be no trace of life in me, in reality, it is present in its fullness in each and every host. But for me to be able to act upon a soul, the soul must have faith. Oh, how pleasing to me is living faith." It was in November in 2011 in the St. Joachim Chapel at St. Anne's in Bartlett when my faith encountered the healing touch of Jesus. I had been struggling for many years with a particular sin, and although at times my efforts to overcome it felt hopeless, I never lost hope and had faith that Christ could restore me to new in his sacrament of reconciliation. Over the years, through continuous visits to this sacrament, Christ was strengthening me, teaching me, and preparing to reward me for my faith, although at the time I was completely unaware. During my visit to adoration on this particular day, I was confused about my future and unsure what to do. I knelt down as usual, and in the quiet confines of this small chapel, Christ reached out to me. In an instant, he gave me the grace I had spent so many years, enduring countless falls, seeking. This grace opened my eyes to the love he had for me and to the beauty with which he clothed the world. In the Book of Wisdom, we hear of this beauty when it says that God fashioned all things that they might have being, and the creatures of the world are wholesome. If it were not in beauty that he created the world, then he would not have taken on human flesh. He would not have become poor so that we might become rich. In St. Paul's second letter to the Corinthians, Paul encourages us to imitate Christ by supporting each other on this journey so that our abundance may provide for the needs of those who are poor. And likewise, their abundance provide for our needs when we are poor. Paul most likely intended that this passage be applied to material wealth, but we can also apply it to faith. The faith and trust I had in the healing power of Christ was not solely attained on my own. It was a gift from God, passed on to me through the faith of others, my parents, Christ's priests, and the saints. In their abundance, they provided for my needs, and God was able to use them to lead me to his mercy. Much the same way, in our gospel proclaimed today, it was Jairus' faith and trust in the healing power of Christ that allowed Jesus to work the miracle of restoring his daughter to life. She shared in his abundance. I challenge each of you to be bold in your faith, to reach out to Jesus, as did the woman with the hemorrhage, and to trust in the healing power of Christ despite the ridicule of others. There are many trials in this journey of faith, and the devil in his envy is always placing roadblocks for us. But despite these roadblocks, Jesus tells us, do not be afraid, just have faith. You never know who your faith will affect, whether now or in the future. I owe much of my faith to my parents and the message of divine mercy as revealed to St Faustina. In their faithfulness, each became a vessel to lead me to Christ. So be vigilant, be on guard, and remain faithful, because you could be the vessel that Christ is using to lead others to him.